Good morning, Sequatchie County and Sequatchie Valley. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. Today's going to be up in the upper 60s, maybe 70s. We'll see how that goes today. Hope you've had your cup of coffee this morning. I've already worked on my second, so I have to have my 2 cups before I get started in the mornings. Hey, we got a special going on today, and first of all, let me apologize for our advertisers. Our computer system is down, and so we will not play the ads today. I'm going to try my best to call out all of our advertisers. I know I'm going to miss a few, but I'm going to try to call them all out today. So sorry about that. Hopefully that'll be fixed by tomorrow. We'll find out soon. But hey, we got a special program today, and today we have with us Gerald and Debbie Morrison of Serenity Pointe, and they recently went on a vacation or a trip, and a lot of us go on trips and vacations, but theirs was a little different, little special in a lot of ways. And they went to Israel, and they do a lot of work there, and I'm going to let them tell you about that. But they were caught up when Hamas struck Israel, so scary time, wasn't it?
Very scary.
Very, very, very scary.
I mean, you know, when we go on trips, we a lot of times, you know, we might fear maybe being in a wreck or something happening, you know, on our trip, but nothing like war.
Oh no, we've been doing missionary work in Israel for 8 years, and we have never felt an ounce of fear over anything, but this time changed it all.
Yeah, this is a big surprise. They were having that music festival, and that's where they hit primarily a lot of it, and that was scary. All the news reports you see, of course, they're limited because I won't get into the fake news and stuff like that. I try not to, because I do news here, but mine's not fake. It's the real stuff. But you know, you get right now we see a lot of people that are concentrating on Palestine, and
yes.
That's to me that's troubling.
That is troubling. That's very troubling. Yeah, we can honestly say that the scariest part was that when it all happened, we were in the country Jordan, which is a Muslim-controlled country. And we were believers, and we had only been in that country 30 minutes when the border closed back into Israel.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it was.
So you weren't sure if you was even going to get to come home.
We didn't even know how to get home at that point.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you know, being of course in a Muslim country, if you're a Christian, they don't take too kindly to Christians.
No, we realized quickly that we were going to have to go 4 more hours deeper into the country in order to get an airport big enough to get us out. That, for a minute, was one of the scariest things. We do mission work in Israel and have for 8 years, so we had an apartment in Israel. We had only taken an overnight bag, so everything we had was still back in our apartment. But it was very apparent that was not wisdom to go back.
Yeah, because something like this, you just don't know, and especially if, as an American, when you go to these countries, and I don't mean this in a
so sorry.
I don't mean it in a bad way, but you don't know who's who. Exactly,
and you had to watch, and that we were on a. We're so sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Mine's going off before too. So.
Okay. Well, we have been going to Israel for 8 years, and never in our 8 years had we ever left the country. We do work over there. We take small groups, which, by the way, we were there with a small group of locals from Grundy County and this county, and 12 of them. And they went home at noon on Friday when the war broke out at 3 a.m., I think 3:30 the next morning. And one of the things we kept thinking was, oh, thank you, God, they're not with us. Because it was hard enough to decide, what do we do with just 2 of us? I can't imagine having 12 people and feeling the responsibility of those 12 people. So that was one of the things we was very thankful for.
Well, since you do the mission work over there, was there anyone over there that was that you're aware of that were harmed or hurt?
Well, we've had a lot of our friends we've made over these years has lost loved ones. Yes, we have. And the last school that we volunteered in, we just found out yesterday, has been hit by a missile.
Oh my!
Yeah, so that was, you know, that was personal, because I liked it in a little bit. Maybe tell you the story of being at that school and getting to speak to 600 Israeli 5th and 6th graders.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it was very neat, and especially what happened at the end of it just wowed me. And so,
well, you get in wars like this, and where a lot of people they don't care what they do. They have an agenda, and they go after that agenda. And if you get in their way, it's just you're just cost.
Yes. It's amazing how the world can hate.
It truly is.
And I find no good ever comes out of hatred. And no good comes out of war. I mean, there's no true winners on either side. Everyone in the end just has pain and hurt.
Well, and if you believe everything you read, Israel does not take this lightly, and I can't blame them. They were attacked.
No, you can't blame them. One of the times when we were over there volunteering, we were volunteering 1 mile from the Gaza Strip. And we were down working with the Ethiopian Jews who've come in from the country of Ethiopia, and we're working with Russian Jews. And the reason why the Jews that have come, you know, the Bible says in the last days they've got to come from the north, south, east, and west. So, and that's called making aliyah. And now that they're making aliyah back home, which, just side note, 2020, 2021 is the 2 largest years in the history of Jews coming home, of Jews coming back to Israel.
Well,
and so they relocate down close to the Gaza Strip because Israel is the 9th most expensive country in the world to live in, because the whole country is only the size of New Jersey.
right,
So the land's very limited.
right.
So it's very costly to be there. And so they have to relocate down at those kind of really, truly dangerous borders. So we were down there on a Tuesday volunteering, like I said, with the Ethiopian Jewish community and a Russian Jewish community. And on Thursday, 2 days later, 20 missiles were shot into the area that week.
Wow.
So though this has never been attacked like this, they're constantly. Matter of fact, Serenity, right here in Dunlap, thank you for shopping at Serenity Thrift, this is how we do what we do, has put in 2 storm shelters in that very area.
Oh, really?
Bomb shelters, I'm sorry.
Bomb
We're used to
shelters.
storm shelters in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Bomb shelters. We actually have paid for 2 bomb shelters, and so I would like to believe that the locals right here saved some Jewish lives from those bomb shelters.
And you think about it, we don't worry so much about it here in our country. Or like I said, we do storm shelters.
Yeah.
But over there, you know, a lot of those countries have bomb shelters. You know, you don't think about that, but that's kind of sad.
Yes. When we were there working on that Tuesday down close to the Gaza Strip, the guy who actually had driven us there, as soon as we get there, he asked us, the guy that's over the Russian community, what do we do if a missile comes? And he said, I'd suggest drop down on your knees and pray. We're too far away from a shelter to really get help. I laugh now, but he was so nervous. He couldn't wait for us to be done so he could leave the area. Of course, he was Jewish and he knew the danger more than we did.
I noticed overnight there was a flight from Tel Aviv into Russia. That the airport got stormed because they were looking for the Jews.
Yes, they had to divert that plane. I don't think they, from what I've read, because I read Israel News first thing every morning, because if you want to know what's really going to be going on in America, you better watch what's going on in Israel, because that's the end results. And so they diverted that. They didn't, I don't think, let them off the plane because they stormed that airport.
Yeah, and the video I saw, it was hundreds of people.
Yes.
They were truly out for blood. And you know, like you said, we need love. That's what we need.
Yes.
And I don't know why there's so much hatred. Of course, I know over there in those foreign countries, some of them, they hate each other. They've grown up that way. They're going to always be that way. Of course, if you go back to the Old Testament, the biblical times, a lot of those different groups hated each other. You know, and they fought. If you look back at for example, the Assyrians, they just wiped everybody out. They didn't care.
Yeah, it's kind of like that scripture in Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
That word don't lie. There's always been wars and rumors of wars, you know, in that area. Yeah, you know, when we were, not this trip, we were there in February also, one of our guys fell and dislocated his shoulders, and we happened to be in the Muslim quarter of the old city when it happened. And so an ambulance could not come to that quarter because they throw rocks at Israeli ambulances and police if they come into that area. And this is always everyday life. And so we had to hire this little kind of like a go-kart, like a golf cart, I guess, like
side by side.
Side by side, and they had to take him out to the Israeli-controlled part of Jerusalem so they could get him in an ambulance to take him to, because they said the windows would have been broke out from rocks, and that was just everyday life.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, a lot of times we don't realize how fortunate we have it here, do we?
No, I know. Well, we're kind of blinded by reality sometimes.
Well, we fuss and complain about how things are around here, traffic or the roads or business sometimes, and then we don't realize, hey, if we wake up every morning, we're good.
Here we go. We're not facing war today, and we're not wondering if our loved ones are coming back that are held hostages, and yeah, we're good. I actually caught myself kind of complaining about a little something yesterday, and I thought, whoa, stop that. I'm not facing war, and I'm out safe.
And I noticed a recent article I read, Hamas was telling Israel if they would stop, pull their troops away from the border, they'd start releasing some of those prisoners they've got. But I thought, yeah, right, I've heard that before.
Yes, we have. That I read also in the Israeli news, the German girl that they paraded around in the back of the pickup, they found her body over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was at that music festival. So, yeah, her family has to be distraught today.
And there's another thing about the Muslims. They have a policy. They have a policy, the Muslims do. They do not have to honor even a written contract with anyone unless they are also Muslim. So telling the Israelis that they will back away, they will surrender, they don't have to honor that. They're not going to honor it.
No.
They are, they're like ISIS. They're just another form of ISIS.
Yeah, I don't understand why so many people here in this country are pro-Palestinian. Now, if you want to be of that group, okay, that's your right. But don't get mad at me because I believe something else.
Right. Well, we were talking about this yesterday morning as we were reading the news and how everybody's saying, ceasefire Israel, ceasefire Israel. And what they don't get is not this Friday, but Friday before, we were talking to our friends in Jerusalem because we have lots of friends in Israel. And that one day, 20 missiles were shot at Jerusalem, the most populated area of all of Israel. 19 of them were intercepted by the Iron Dome. So what they're saying is, oh, Israel, you stop shooting because they don't have an Iron Dome. They can't stop the missiles.
Right.
But yet, Hamas is continually shooting. Now, out of that 21 missile got through, and it hit a mosque.
Really?
So, I thought, But anyway, but yeah, so their shooting is just, thank the Lord, Israel has an Iron Dome. They're shooting into Tel Aviv. They're shooting into Jerusalem. But the news is not telling all the missiles that's getting intercepted. They're just only telling about all the missiles that Gaza doesn't have the ability to stop.
Right. And when you look at what all they've done, especially all those babies they murdered and beheaded and so forth, and then you have people over here want Israel to stop. I thought Israel didn't start this fight, and if that took place here, people would be in an uproar. They'd want to have your head.
Oh, right. If the wrong one or two Americans was to lose their life in all of this, yeah, you'd see what would happen. It'd be a different story. Totally.
Well, I think back to December the 7th, 1941, when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Did we sit back and wait? No. We declared war. We went and we built an atomic bomb, and we dropped an atomic bomb on Japan and wiped out millions of civilians. So, war is a war.
Right.
And this is not a little terrorist act. This is a war. And Israel has a right to defend their country.
Oh, they sure do. Now, you mentioned while you were you'd gone to Jordan. That was just for like a day trip, right?
Yes. Like I said, we had never left Israel in all the years we've been going, but we take small groups, just to let you know what Serenity does. We introduce the small rural pastors and the leaders of the church to Israel at a huge reduced rate. Because the main reason that most small church pastors couldn't go to Israel was the cost.
Right.
So it become our mission to help them to get that at a reduced rate. And so we take small groups. Well, we had a 3-day window between the group that went home and the next group. Now, the next group we were going to be working with, we were 100% humanitarian work. We were only going to be volunteering. Matter of fact, we would have been at the Gaza Strip on Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Had this war not broke out on Saturday. That's where we were going to be volunteering at.
Wow.
And so we take these small groups and introduce the rural pastors to Israel, because once you go to Israel, that Bible comes alive. It changes how you read, how you study, how you understand. And so we had that 3-day window. And I don't know, on Thursday I told him, I said, well, why don't we go see the seventh wonder of the world, Petra? And so it was just a 4-hour bus ride down to the south, and then you cross the border. And so, but you had to go at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my.
So on Friday afternoon, I said, why don't we just not go? I don't want to get up at 2 a.m. Go ahead. And, but we did. We got up at 2 a.m., got on the bus at 3 a.m.
WSDQ.
Yes. Just had a question. Do you ever have like a certain time that you're able to call in and be talk live on the radio?
Yes, it'll be after I finish this interview.
Okay. Well, what time would that be? Just
It'll be at least 8:45.
8:45.
Yeah.
Now, I'm the activity director at the nursing home, and we're having an auction for nursing home
Ah.
Christmas. Am I able to put that on there?
Yeah, let me finish this interview and call me back later, okay?
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So anyway, so my husband said, no, we've paid for it, we're going. So we got on a bus at 3:15 a.m. and drove 4 hours south. Soon as we crossed over into Jordan, we get on another bus. When we in a group of 22 more people, there's 24 of us. The tour guide says, what's going on in Israel? And all of us went, we don't know. We've been on a bus for 4 hours. But then we all picked up our phones. You see, I believe, you know, in the Revelation when it says in the last days when the 2 witnesses are slain in the street and the whole world looks on. See, that could not take place until cell phones were created. And, I mean, I've been in 18 countries. I've never been in a country where there wasn't a cell phone in at least every other person's hand. And so we got those cell phones out and we were like, whoa, because we had no clue.
Yeah.
And then about 30 minutes later, someone on the bus says, oh my goodness, they've closed the border. Then we was all like, what do we do now? And so, yeah, we were in the country Jordan with an overnight bag. So we began the journey to try to figure out what do we do now. We traveled for 4 days, 3 separate airline countries, 3 different countries to get back to good old Tennessee.
Wow.
With an overnight bag.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand, like if, like in my case, I have a lot of medicine I have to take.
Oh yeah, we had that problem when we got home.
Yeah, and so if you're without it, you don't, like say you're just going to go overnight, so you just take enough for overnight, and then the next thing you know, oh well.
Here is the good thing about that. For some reason, I decided on Thursday night to refill my weekly medicine. Otherwise, I would have been out.
Yeah.
But I did feel, so I had a week's supply of medicine with me. But my 90-day supply is still in Israel. So, but
the good thing
good
is,
news,
good
the insurance company approved all of it for free.
Oh, good.
So I
Yeah.
got my medicine back.
Yeah,
Good.
and he has a lung disease, a heart disease, and so he had some serious medicine. And but yeah, that was the thing was the insurance company says we don't have a code for refilling medicine because you got called in a war. That's what they told us. It took a minute for them to get supervisors and to get because they said we have never had that.
Yeah, and hopefully won't have it again.
Yeah.
Hopefully not never from us. But
Well, now with this war, has it? I know you are still doing some fundraising and getting things where you can send over there. Has that changed any of your plans, future plans?
Well, another one of the things that Serenity has been doing for 9 years is that we have been a partner with God's Warehouse up above Knoxville. And every month on the month, God's Warehouse sends a container, ships it to Israel. And it usually has about $100,000 worth of medical supplies, just all kinds of stuff. They constantly send us a different list. Because, see, Israel is only the size of New Jersey, so it can't manufacture a whole lot of things.
Right.
So so much what they need for daily life has to be imported to them. And so what the Ministry of Serenity's been doing is we've been paying for that shipment container to get out of the port and get to nonprofit called Joseph Project. And that nonprofit distributes from one end of Israel to the other, but not just to Israelis. They distribute to Arabs and Israelis, and they distribute to all the orphanages, the nursing home, the Holocaust survivors. I mean, it's a wonderful program. So, but what's changed is we're not getting to ship much now. We're having to fly up a cargo plane.
Oh, expensive,
Yeah.
more expensive.
Yeah, way expensive. So since we've been home, because we don't feel like the Lord got us out for no reason. He had a purpose in letting us get out, because all of our friends that were Americans, we were all over there because it was a holiday, and there's a big thing that people volunteer at during that holiday. They got caught. It took them 3 weeks to get out. They were just now getting out. And so we felt like if the Lord got us out, that He had a purpose. And so now we have paid for 2 flights to take in some desperate needed supplies to Israel.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I say a lot of times we're so busy doing good. We do good in the community. We sponsor the Cancer Network. We sponsor the House of Hope. I mean, we do good in the community. And now we have a ministry retreat on East Valley Road for missionaries and pastors and couples whose marriages are in trouble. But we also have to set aside a certain amount of money that must go toward Israel because it's biblically correct to help Israel. So now we're having to fly cargo planes over, and we actually are collecting a list of things right now that are in desperate need to be flown over.
Well, the drawback to the planes, at least it gets over there quicker.
Yes.
Costs you more, but
Yes, and can't carry as much, but hey, you do what you can do.
Yeah, and well, is there anything I've not asked you want to share this morning about your time there? I know it's kind of horrific, and it caught you way off guard.
Way off guard. I want to share about the incidents that I named about the school that got hit with a missile. So we were volunteering at a school. I was doing painting, and he was building, because he was a builder for years, and he was building something for the school. We were a group of about 10 volunteers. And so at the end of the week, they allowed me and 2 of the other women to speak to about 600 5th and 6th graders. Here, let me tell you a funny first. So it was election between Trump and Hillary.
Oh.
And every little kid would walk up to you and say, Trump or Hillary? Trump or Hillary? Because Israel loves Trump.
Yeah.
And so it was always so comical for those little kids to always constantly walk up to you and ask you that question. But anyway, I was speaking, and one of the little girls, about 12, asked me a question. She says, why are you here helping our school? And I said, oh, because I love you. And when it was through, she come up to me and she said, Miss Debbie, did you say you love me because you're here, or do you really love me? I said, oh, honey, I really love you, because I love that, my Savior's Jewish. The Word of God I read every day was written by Jews. I love the Jewish nation, because that's who I am in the Lord, through the Jewish nation. And she turns around and screams back at all the other kids, she really loves us. And they start cheering like at a ball game.
Really?
And I thought, what's that about? So that night, the principal had us all over as a farewell to have coffee and dessert at her house. And she asked me, she said, did you understand what happened today? I went, no, I really didn't quite understand that. And I'll try to tell this without crying. She said, their grandparents are Holocaust survivors.
Oh.
And their grandparents raised their parents and taught them that it's only a matter of time until the world will turn on us again. They hate us. And she said because they are Jewish and no other reason, they know the world will turn on them and hates them. Silent tears just started streaming down my face.
Sure.
And I thought, in America, we do not have to raise our children just because the DNA that's inside of them, that the world hates them.
No.
That was heartbreaking to me, that a child has to be raised to believe that and to think that. And so I think that day in a different way forever changed me and how I saw the situation of the Jewish people in Israel, compared to what, I don't think we could ever understand that.
No.
I know I could have never understood that. I'm a Southern girl. I noticed that cut there says Bama from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah.
Yes, but no, so I don't get that. But my husband now is Tennessean. Born and raised in Whitwell. We were just gone 20 years and came back home to do this work of the Lord here in this valley.
Well, good. I mean, you don't know how blessed you are. If you want to know how blessed you are, go to a hospital like Vandy.
Yes.
And watch the people come in. And when you see people coming in on stretchers and by ambulance and coming in with oxygen tanks, wheelchairs, without limbs, and you're able to walk in and walk out, then your health issues are no longer an issue.
I had a sister that was in a tornado in Tuscaloosa on December the 16th. And for 6 days, we did not know if she's going to live or die. Matter of fact, my sister has had 48 surgeries from being in that tornado.
Wow.
And so for years, and we sat in UAB in Birmingham during Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And so for years, my husband and I personally, we would go to the waiting rooms of hospitals, and because we lived at that time in Chattanooga, and we would just give a cash gift because it's expensive, number one.
Yeah.
There's nothing cheap about sickness.
Right.
And we would just give a gift to help with gas or whatever they were doing because we knew what that felt like to be there. We wondered and we always went to the intensive care waiting room because we knew what it felt like. That though it was the holidays and most were rejoicing, some are heartbroken.
Right, they truly are.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I do appreciate y'all being with us today. I'm looking forward also for our audiences. Later today, I'll be at their place, and we're going to interview for BTC Fiber, and we're going to talk about more about their mission programs and other things they do. We're limited on our time here, so we don't have the time to go into everything, but we will later this afternoon, 1:30, I believe. It won't be live; it'll be recorded, but you can see it on BTC Fiber's YouTube page. So be watching for it. I'll try to let you know when it's on. But anyway, hey, I appreciate y'all being with us today. It's been a pleasure to have y'all, and I can't imagine when I heard that, I first saw the news said Dunlap couple, and I thought, who? And then I started reading up, and I thought, oh my goodness.
It was kind of funny at the chamber meeting the other night because our back was to the majority of the crowd, and then when she said something about us, or the thrift store and us, when it was over with, everybody's like, oh my goodness, we're so glad you're home, we're so glad you're home.
Yeah, that's the good part.
We can say we physically, spiritually felt the prayers for us. We would get a little anxious, and it's just like a calmness would come over us. Had to be everyone's prayers. And so if you prayed for us once you knew, we want to say thank you, because it was scary. And we want to also say that later on today on our Facebook page, we will have a list of the things that we are gathering to ship on the next plane, November the 15th.
Okay.
And they can be dropping it off at Serenity Thrill.
All right, and we're going to talk about that as well.
Yes.
All right, I appreciate y'all being with us today. And
Thank you.
For those of you that are listening to us, since we do not have our ads, I'm going to turn you back over to EPG, and then I'll be back in just a few moments. Thank you. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.